Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Wichita police officer has been fired for an officer-involved shooting incident last month. Police say he fired at a dog that charged him, but the bullet ricocheted, hitting a child in the face. KENNETH's Morgan Downing spoke with the family's attorney. She joins us now with the story.
That child is 9 years old, and according to the family's attorney, she had 3 fragments removed from her forehead at the hospital. The family says they called police to de-escalate the situation, and the officer only made it worse. Dexter Betts had only been a Wichita police officer for a year before he was let go this week for firing his weapon and injuring a child. Attorney Charles O'Hara represents the child's family.
We don't want little kids that are innocent little kids getting hurt because a policeman doesn't use good judgment.
O'Hara says in late December, police were told an adult at this home had a gun and was making suicidal statements. But O'Hara says by the time police arrived, the situation had been resolved and the couple was standing outside with no weapon, ready to talk to police. That's when Officer Betts decided to go inside. Seconds later, Betts fired his weapon twice at the family's dog, who police say charged at him.
Why in the world a policeman would shoot a gun in a small room with 4 little kids when a dog is barking at him is very hard to understand.
The family shows where the bullet hit the floor. One of the shots ricocheted, hitting a 9-year-old girl in the face.
Obviously, when my client heard the gunshot, she was terribly upset. She was not allowed to go inside to see her daughter.
The child was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. O'Hara says the child's mother wasn't allowed to ride with her daughter. O'Hara says the police department needs to review its policies. The case has been turned over to the district attorney's office, and it's up to the DA whether any charges will be filed against the former officer.
Cop fired for shooting 9-year-old girl in the head as he tried to kill her dog in a room full of kids. A Wichita cop's actions were so disturbing as he shot at a dog inside a room full of children and hitting a little girl in the process, that he was actually fired. By Matt Agarist, January 27, 2018. Wichita, Kansas. In just a matter of a few days, cops in Wichita proved their incompetent and dangerous nature and showed the country that they are in dire need of de-escalation training. In December, an innocent man was murdered by Wichita police for the crime of opening his front door in front of frightened trigger-happy cops. Now, a cop has actually been fired after he shot a little girl inside her own home just 2 days after they killed the innocent man. At the beginning of the month, a Wichita cop was placed on administrative leave after discharging his firearm inside a family's home in a cowardly attempt to kill a dog and hitting a little girl instead. Now, in an actual moment of accountability, Officer Dexter Betts was fired this week in response to his potentially deadly act. The officer was hired last January and barely made it a year before being fired. As KENNETH reports, officers were called at around 6:15 p.m. to the report of a domestic disturbance and suicidal person in the 1500 block of North Gentry, near 13th and Hillside. Officer Paul Cruz said in a news release that officers were told a 33-year-old man in the home had held a gun in his mouth and choked a dog. When officers arrived at the home, instead of getting the woman and 4 children to safety, they went in guns blazing after learning that the gun the man had held in his mouth was under a pillow in a bedroom. While the officers were retrieving the gun, a mid-sized mixed-breed dog charged at one of the officers, the release said. The officer pulled his service weapon and shot at the dog, missing it. Advertisement. The dog is described as a small 35-pound miniature English Bull Terrier named Chevy. The poorly aimed shot then ricocheted off the floor and a fragment of the bullet struck the innocent 9-year-old girl in the forehead just above her right eye. Had the bullet struck just an inch lower, the poor girl could have been permanently blinded or worse. Danielle Maples, the girl's mother, recounted the horrifying experience to the press, noting that her daughter was sitting down on the couch when she was struck in the head. Also, her 6-year-old son was standing right next to the officer when he fired not 1 but 2 shots. The little girl was brought to the hospital and treated for her injuries. Luckily, Maple's 3 children were not physically injured. However, the emotional scarring left by this experience could last a lifetime. Maples explained how at the hospital doctors removed 3 fragments of the bullet from her daughter's head, showing just how close she'd come to being blinded. Wichita Police Chief Gordon Ramsey reportedly told Maples that he watched the body camera from the officers in the room when Betts opened fire. As Kansas.com reports, she said Ramsey told her in a phone conversation that what he witnessed was not only morally wrong but against their protocols and training. He didn't say why, she said. As for the suicidal man in the home, luckily he was not killed and completely cooperated with police. He was also brought to a hospital where he was given a mental health exam, according to the police statement. According to the Wichita Eagle, the case will be reviewed by the district attorney's office in addition to an internal review to determine if department policies were followed. Sadly, police officers attempting to kill dogs and hitting innocent people in the process is an all too common occurrence. As TFTP previously reported, responding to the house of a woman requesting medical treatment, a Columbus police officer arrived at the front door and immediately shot her 4-year-old daughter when attempting to kill their dog. Fearing that a jury would award the family substantially more money, the Columbus City Council unanimously approved a $780,000 settlement with the innocent girl's family. Prior to shooting the little girl, a police officer in Iowa shot and killed an innocent woman while attempting to kill her dog. Gabriel Steele was loading up their 4-year-old son when the couple's dog came playfully running out of the house. Officer Jesse Hill was at the Steele residence acting as an escort in a domestic dispute incident when he saw the dog and feared for his life. He then pulled his sidearm and fired off at least 2 rounds, one which fatally struck Gabriel's wife Autumn. Witnesses say that at this time the dog was being playful, but apparently still threatened the officer, which caused him to draw his pistol and begin shooting. Video confirmed this claim, yet the officer involved was never charged with a crime. It's not only innocent children and women who are hurt when cops fear dogs, it's also their fellow cops. An NYPD officer executing a search in the hunt for a robbery suspect earlier this year accidentally shot a U.S. Marshal in the foot when he fired at a dog. When officers aren't properly trained to deal with situations such as these, tragedy is often the outcome. While tasked with the authority to carry a deadly weapon in all situations, this heavy responsibility is often disregarded, with innocent civilians as well as other officers becoming victims in the process.
It was hard to see, but as soon as I heard the shots, the officer that was with me, I started screaming, what's happened. I hear someone say, "They've shot your dog." And instantly I asked him, "Why were you in my house?" Then, of course, at that time, he was trying to console me, and I think he looked shocked of, what had just happened, because, of course, he was on the side of the house with me. Right after that, I hear, it's dark out, so really, it was hard to see, but I hear my husband say they've hit my daughter. And I remember I just remember screaming and saying, "What have you done?" Because I couldn't even imagine what was going on, why he would have shot. There were so many questions I had, and of course he couldn't answer them for me because he was standing there with me. He didn't know what was going on either. So at that time, he actually, as soon as he heard that my daughter had been hit, he said, "Let me take you to my car." And I think I told him why. I want to go in my house. I want to see what happened. I need to know. I was like freaking out. I just couldn't even gather my thoughts. I wanted to physically see what was going on, and they weren't going to allow me to. So I was taken to the car, and I sat for probably a good 5 to 10 minutes. I think a sergeant actually came to the car because I was yelling at that point, "What has happened? Where's my daughter? Why did you shoot my dog?" I just had so many questions and nobody could answer them for me.
County. This is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.